Oh my god, the biggest trailer in the entire gaming industry released yesterday. Why are we not talking about this more? Oh, that that also came out. Okay. So I'm just being told that GTA 6 trailer 2 came out yesterday. Because I was going to talk about Destiny 2, The Edge of Fate. So this isn't just about Edge of Fate. This is about, I guess, the whole year of prophecy, and lightly touching, I guess, on the new multi-year saga, the Fate saga, which is gonna be, kind of taking on the 9 and the notion of fate, and our lives being predestined for us. So, starting off, new event just started in Destiny 2, that being the Rite of the Nine, which is focused on dungeons. So whether you're a solo player or you play with a group, you can, participate. Playing through dungeons, including Explorer mode, which will hold your hand and, make sure you don't mess up the dungeon. Like, it will stall out some damage phases for you, and a bunch of other stuff to make soloing dungeons very, very, very easy for you. So if you haven't soloed dungeons, this is a great time to learn, especially if you don't own them. Because Prophecy, which was already free, whatever, along with Spire the Watcher, and why can I never think of it? Ghosts of the Deep. Those are all free. Those are free right now for all players. So go check those out. They also have harder difficulties if you think they're easier, which they are. So moving on to Edge of Fate, or Edge to Feet if you prefer. That's such a stupid joke. Sorry about that. And I'm sorry to Vinci G that I made that joke. More on that later. So anyways, after that, terrible joke. Edge of Fate is going to be the first expansion into the Fate saga and of the new structure for Destiny 2 content rollouts. It's not going to be a DLC the size of the Final Shape or Lightfall or Witch Queen, and the price sort of kind of reflects that, being that we're going back to the $40 price tag like Witch Queen was. But content-wise, it's probably going to be the size of like Shadowkeep, maybe Rise of Iron, reaching all the way back to D1. See, the thing here is, it's $40 because companies like Nintendo are charging $80, and Bungie is also greedy. Every gaming company is greedy, but caveat to that, there's no more seasons. There is season reward passes, which I think we pay for still, but you don't have to pay for the seasonal stories because they're moving over to 2 medium-sized expansions a year instead of one big one. And then instead of the 4 seasons of the year, you'll have those 2 medium-sized expansions and 2 large major updates the size of Into the Light, which, if you weren't there, was pretty substantial. It added Onslaught, and it brought in a lot of features that were really good. And brought back some exotic missions. It's the first one after Edge of Fate will be us returning to the Plague Lands, meaning we're likely going to see some Sifa Fallen, which, I know they said that there's not going to be a raid, but this is like the first step to getting Wrath of the Machine back, and it's the only raid that hasn't returned from D1, and I would love to see it back, Bungie, if that's at all possible. Anyways, it's also going to bring in some exotics. So that's what we're seeing for, like, what content you get for how much you pay. That's free. Edge of Fate is a $40 expansion, which brings in a new form of storytelling for Destiny that reflects more of original Destiny 1 and a little bit of Destiny 2 vanilla, but not at all those. It's more inspired by Metroidvania, where everything's kind of non-linear, and, your exploration helps you tell the story. At least that's how I understood it. Maybe, like, the main story is a lot more linear, but there's a lot of secrets and things within the destination, which is Kepler. Not real Kepler, Destiny Kepler, which is right outside the solar system, because we won't be leaving the solar system for a few more years, at least. I would love to leave the solar system, though. That would be cool. But there is a lot of weird time and multi-dimensional stuff going on Kepler. That's where the 9 are most, like, able to be present, really. We're going to see the emissary leave them, and we have a new character on Kepler that will be helping us as we go with Ikora to investigate what's going on Kepler and take on the Fallen House of Exile, which has a new unit called Corsairs. They can fly. And the Vex, which have kobolds. Not sure what exactly they do, but I am a fan of Bungie recently adding units to existing factions to help, make them a little bit different. The new character we interact with in Edge of Fate, and I'm assuming the vendor for Kepler, will be Lodi, who seems to be a person that was pulled through time and space from pre-Golden Age to early collapse Chicago to Kepler. And more evidence of that is the train. If you wanted Old Chicago, which I never thought it would happen, this is probably the closest we'll ever get, is some cutscenes of Chicago getting demolished, and presumably Lodi being from Chicago. So, as a little bit of hometown pride, I guess, if you guys want to comment down below what side you think Lodi's from, north side, south side, or west side, just drop what you think, maybe a little explanation, your little reasoning, and I'll go through and I'll heart some comments, and if we see any confirmation that he's from a particular side, I'll sling a $15 Advanced GG gift card your way. Alright? So, drop that down below. Make it as funny or serious as possible. These are all just predictions for the future, Have a little fun with it, I don't know. Anyways, on Kepler, we're going to be able to interact with dark matter. Why is this so, special? Because Kepler's going to be one of the only places where dark matter is, perceivable. It's not, normally perceivable in the real world, nor is it in Destiny. But the 9 are masses of sentient dark matter that represent the major celestial bodies of our solar system. And Kepler's where they're the strongest because dark matter can exist there. And there's a bunch of time and space stuff that's really weird. You can interact with it because you're imbuing yourself with dark matter at some point. Meaning you can turn into a ball of arc energy as the matter spark. You can interact with the world and move things around through time and space with more dark matter abilities. But these, I think, are only going to work on Kepler. It's a Kepler specific thing. It's not like a subclass or anything. It's like Deep Sight and Witch Queen. It's only there. So while we do know a decent amount of pieces of Edge of Fate and kind of what we're going up against, it's honestly, to an extent, a lot more vague than Renegades, which is coming later in the year, and more vague than Ash and Iron, which is the first major free update. Which is really weird, kind of interesting. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen because it's the destination itself is, inspired by what they've done in the Dreaming City, what they've done in exotic missions. It's loaded with secrets and meant for exploration. We saw a bit of that in the Pale Heart, but if they're taking that and turning it up, that could be really cool to see. So I'm interested to uncover the mysteries hidden on Kepler. Before we get into Renegades, I want to talk about today's sponsor, Advanced GG. Right now, they are selling ice shakers for Mother's Day. And I know your mom would like one because I talked to her about it last night. So you might want to hop on that, son. Anyways, ice shakers, I love them. They keep your drinks cold for, the entire day or hot, and they're just really high quality stuff. I have like 3 of them, and I've had them for like 2-3 years at this point, and that's just the ice shakers. Okay, Advanced GG formulas like the energy, the focus, the sleep, the hydration taste great. I love them. I pretty much drink focus or energy every morning to help me wake up if I've had like a rough night of sleep, or if I just need a boost throughout the day. They'll get me that. And you don't have like this massive crash that a lot of drinks will give you. It's not chalky. I have been using Advanced GG for years, way longer than I've been working with them. So I do recommend their products. I was recommending their products before they paid me to recommend their products. So I highly suggest you go check them out at the very least. And if you do, please go ahead, use my link down below and my code Spycer10. They'll get you 10% off, and it'll get me paid. So yeah, if you're at all interested in that, and you know you have the money set there, go ahead, try it out. But yeah, back to like the actual video. Let's talk a little bit about Renegades. Why is it controversial? Well, because the trailer had a blurb about working with Lucasfilms, and that's because they added a lightsaber and Han Solo blaster in that trailer. And so Renegades is not a Star Wars expansion. I just want to say that up front. It has been confirmed. It's not a Star Wars story. It's a Destiny story that's heavily inspired by Star Wars, and seemingly more specifically the original trilogy, because it's taking on more of those sci-fi Western motifs that were in the original trilogy, more so than the prequels or the sequels. Yep, that's it. It's a Star Wars inspired story. Yeah. Kind of like we've seen in Destiny lore for a while. So, yeah. In fact, the Destiny story that's probably the most inspired a little bit by Star Wars is probably going to be prominent. I had to remake this video because when I was first talking about it, not all the information was out, especially about Renegades. So I was predicting that we were working, because all the cosmetics we've gotten ever for Star Wars, like all the armor sets, have been the Empire. Like, you got Stormtroopers. Now we have a Vader skin for Titans. We also have Kylo Ren and General Grievous, which don't really fit Empire, but it's close enough. So I was assuming we were going to be working with Keitel and Renegades to shut down the Scion Rebellion. You know, we're working with the Empire. Nope. Okay. New Yor. New Dredgen. Yeah, New Dredgen is walking around, and we got to put a stop to their stuff. We got to be Renegades like Shin Malphur. So there's a chance Shin Malphur appears. Maybe. We'll see. No clue. Probably more Drifter stuff. So if you're a Drifter hater, I'm sorry that the greatest character in the game with the greatest game mode is eating, but he's eating. Renegades will also be $40, or you can buy the entire year's worth of content for $80, or you can spend the extra $20 to get right now in-game New Land Beyond and the Star Wars cosmetics. So, you know, that's Darth Vader, Titan, Kylo Ren, Warlock, General Grievous, Hunter. I think there's a ship, some emotes, there's a bunch of stuff. So if you want that stuff, that's $100. And you'll get all the reward passes for the year and some, like, I think you also get like a stash of resources. So there's that. Also, in case you didn't know, there will be a ton of quality of life improvements within this year. Should be getting more vault space in Renegades, but also before that, we're getting the portal, which seems to be helping declutter the destinations tab, which is much, much, much needed. So there's a lot of cool stuff coming. Loot Loot's getting refreshed. Armor 3.0. Weapons fucking 5.0 at this point, I think. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on. And honestly, a lot of it's just quality of life, general game stuff. And I'm excited for that because that stuff's all free. So, thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you next time.